What up, everybody? Now that Breeze has officially been introduced on Raising Kanan and we can finally put a face to the name and all the stories that was told about him all throughout OG Power seasons 1 through 6, there's one story in particular that comes to my mind, and it's the story Kanan was telling Tariq about Breeze when he was planning on killing him. Kanan took Tariq to Breeze's apartment and told Tariq his friend Breeze used to live at that apartment. Kanan told Tariq that Breeze was strong but not smart, and that they always knew where he was going to be. And we know now after seeing Breeze that he wasn't talking about being physically strong or intimidating, because I was the size of Breeze in maybe the 5th or 6th grade. But he meant that Breeze was strong in the streets, violent with soldiers and people backing him, similar to his aunt and uncle Snaps and Pop, who aren't physically strong either, but are strong in the streets. And when Kanan said Breeze wasn't smart, he wasn't talking about being book smart, because Snaps called Breeze a visionary and a scholar. We also know from Kanan's story that Breeze used to watch Jeopardy every day at 7, and that was part of them knowing his routine and what he was going to do every day. So when Kanan was talking about not being smart, he meant Breeze was predictable and did the same thing every day at the same time. But ultimately, this is how Ghost and Tommy were able to kill Breeze, because he was predictable, and knowing he would be home at 7 o'clock to watch Jeopardy, they broke into his apartment and waited for him there and killed him. Breeze, being strong in the streets like Snaps and Pop, probably had soldiers around him at all times, and the only time they could probably even get to Breeze was when he went home to watch Jeopardy. Now going back to the current Raising Kanan timeline, and Snaps and Pop have Kanan so riled up against Rock, thinking that she was involved in Famous and Crystal's death, that season 4 ended with a cliffhanger, not knowing whether Kanan killed Rock or not, leaving it up for debate until season 5. But the season finale also left behind clues that Kanan and Jukebox will figure out the truth about what really happened to Famous and Crystal. At the beginning of the episode, after finding out that Crystal was dead from Jukebox, Jukebox went on to tell Kanan that she wasn't sure if she was buying the story Snaps and Pop was telling him about Rock having the dirty cops put down Famous. She said the Snaps and Pop always have an angle, and it would be just like them to put it in Kanan's head to turn him against Rock. And ultimately, that's what happened. And even though Jukebox might have started to believe some of the stuff that Kanan was saying was true by the way she dealt with Rock at Lamont's diner, after Marvin assured Jukebox that Rock had nothing to do with either Crystal or Famous's deaths, she believed him. Detective Garcia also told Kanan and Jukebox that a tenant at the apartments in Edgemere where Crystal was found said they saw a black woman leaving the apartment where Crystal was killed. Even though this was the boiling point that made Kanan think that Rock killed Crystal. In addition to that, Kanan talked to Crystal's mother's boyfriend and told him if he hears anything to let him know. So I think Crystal's mother's boyfriend will get information about the witness and let Kanan know. Then Kanan and Jukebox could bring a picture of Rock to this witness, and she'll tell Jukebox and Kanan that Rock wasn't the woman she saw leaving that apartment. Then Jukebox and Kanan will remember what Jukebox said about Snaps and Pop having an angle, and the reason why they tried to pin everything on Rock. Then they'll also remember that Snaps and Pop also have dirty cops on their payroll, and also that Crystal went missing soon after Kanan went looking to them for answers about what happened to Famous. Then when they put all this together, they'll know who was really behind the murders of Famous and Crystal, and their next move will be to take out Snaps and Pop Henry. But like I said at the beginning of the video, how Ghost and Tommy had to break into Breeze's apartment when he was alone watching Jeopardy to take him out, because he was strong in the streets with security and people backing him like Snaps and Pop. Because of that, Snaps and Pop won't be an easy target, just like their nephew Breeze wasn't an easy target. They will have to be calculated at when they take their shot at Snaps and Pop, because it would have to be either when their security guards aren't around or when there's less security surrounding them. But just like Breeze had his routine that he did every day and got caught slipping watching Jeopardy, I think his aunt and uncle also keep the same routine every day. And this will be how Kanan and Jukebox catch them slipping to take them out. Snaps and Pop are almost always seen at their tavern called the Flash Inn. Taking out Snaps and Pop at the Flash Inn would be almost impossible. Not only is there regular civilians there all the time, sometimes there's cops there, and more importantly, Snaps and Pop are also heavily guarded with security when they're at the Flash Inn. And it hasn't shown where Snaps and Pop live. The place they had Crystal wasn't where they actually lived. But I did notice that the Flash Inn does seem to have an apartment building or something like that above it. Because of that, I think that Snaps and Pop probably also live above the Flash Inn. And if that's the case, they likely won't be able to get to Snaps and Pop while they're at home, because they probably have somebody guarding the area where they live to make sure nobody goes up there. In addition to the Flash Inn, the only places I can remember seeing them is on the rooftop talking to the two cops that killed Famous, and somewhere talking to Kanan walking their dog. So with that said, if I'm targeting Snaps and Pop, I think the best time and place to take them out would be when they're walking their dog. Because just like Breeze watch Jeopardy every day at 7, I think it's likely that Snaps and Pop walk their dog at a certain time each day. Kanan and Jukebox will figure this out, and this will be when they take their kill shot at Snaps and Pop. Their security still might be around when they're walking their dog, but if they are, they give them some space, and there's by far less security around them than when they're at their tavern, the Flash Inn. And while they're walking their dog, if they had to take a shot at Snaps and Pop from a distance, they could. But I think they'll want to look at them in the face and take them out, so they'll probably have a silencer on their straps and take Snaps and Pop's security out first, then walk up on Snaps and Pop, looking them in the face before smoking them. Then, after taking out Snaps and Pop, there's the whole Breeze situation that Kanan's gonna have to deal with, because it's very unlikely that Breeze will give him the green light to take out his aunt and uncle. Because of that, Kanan will probably have to keep this a secret from Breeze and play it off like he had nothing to do with it. He might even have to learn from what Snaps and Pop did with Rock and try to find a scapegoat to pin Snaps and Pop's murder on for Breeze. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.